Hello everyone, welcome back to another Project Gladiator weather forecast. Today I'll be covering the weather for October 17th of 2023. This forecast is going to be a little bit more light. I'm not really going to be going too in-depth on the weather for today, but I will also be touching on the weather for later on this week and covering the progression of the cold front this week that we are expected to see make its way from west coast all the way to east coast in the course of a week. So let's actually take a look at the weather that we're expected to see this week. We have two main regions for today. Sorry, I'm going to be taking a look at the weather for today. You can see we have this warm front pushing out ahead of the cold front, and this should be leading to a little bit of weak rain showers. A little bit of weak, widespread light rain out across North Dakota into northern South Dakota. There's not really going to be a lot going on. But then if we take a look at our TSTM threat for southern Arizona into parts of New Mexico, we are expected to see a little bit of a surface low develop kind of in this region, which is going to support some isolated rain showers across the Rocky Mountains in that desertous region. Again, for today, we aren't really expected to see all that much. But let's take a look at the progression of this cold front, actually. Let's start off with the temperature model so we can take a look at the progression of our cold front. As of today, our cold front is still out across the Rocky Mountains in Montana, and that should continue to push eastward over the next couple of days. In fact, it is expected to make its way out across the Central Plains in the course of a night, actually. From today, this cold front is expected to make its way out of Montana and then into the Midwest overnight. So this is going to be an extremely fast cold front and is going to be pushing its way into the Midwest by tomorrow. It should be, again, making its way across the entirety of the Central Plains in the course of a night, but should still drape back into the Central Plains a little bit. As you can see, a little bit of development along that cold front back across Kansas. So it's not going to leave the Central Plains entirely, but it will be in the Midwest by tomorrow morning. And then, as I was mentioning in the weekly overlook, we aren't really expected to see all that much severe weather development, all that much of a threat for severe weather for the first half of this week, as the cold front isn't really going to have access to ample moisture or ample instability to really support a severe thunderstorm threat out across the Central Plains or the Midwest, really. We may be able to see a marginal threat across the Midwest, but overall, we are expected to see a little bit. We could potentially see the threat of a marginal threat or slight risk out across the eastern United States later on this week, as it has access to a little bit more moisture out across the eastern half of the United States. Let's actually take a look at our dew points really quickly so we can take a look at our ample moisture for the cold front as it makes its way into the eastern half of the United States, leading to the potential threat of some weak severe thunderstorms later on this week. If you take a look at some of the moisture that the cold front and low pressure system is going to have access to in the early half of its progression into the Central Plains into the Midwest, mainly for today into the overnight hours, we aren't really expected to have a ton of instability or moisture, really. However, we are expected to have a little bit more moisture across the northern Central Plains because of some of the rain showers out ahead of that cold front because of the warm front. But overall, we shouldn't really see a ton of instability from this. Our moisture is going to be very weak, and in fact, the rain showers previously should stabilize the atmosphere as they use up whatever instability is going to be in place. So we shouldn't really see a lot of instability or moisture to really support severe thunderstorm threat out across the northern Central Plains from this moisture. It could lead to a little bit more widespread rain showers as it pushes into the northern Central Plains, but we shouldn't really see a lot from that. But then let's take a look at the dew points that we are expected to see across the Central Plains into the early Midwest as it makes its way into the Midwest. We are expected to have extremely weak dew points. We are expected to see dew points in front of that cold front that are going to be getting as high as the low 40s and as low as the upper 30s. So not a lot of moisture. So that's not going to lead to a lot of instability. If you take a look at the eastern United States, you can see we are expected to have significantly more moisture compared to the central plains and Midwest. This is going to be where we should possibly see the threat for severe thunderstorms later on this week, as we have ample instability and ample moisture. We are expected to have dew points are going to be getting as high as the upper 50s, pushing into those upper 50s, and then a little bit deeper moisture further south with dew points are going to be getting into the low 60s out across eastern Texas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and Mississippi. Overall, we are expected to have more moderate moisture in the atmosphere across the eastern half of the United States, and overall moderate instability. Or instability should be at least weak, shouldn't be extremely strong or really strong at all, really. It should be fairly weak to moderate, and really support probably a marginal threat or a slight risk out across the eastern half of the United States. Overall, we shouldn't really see a huge threat for severe thunderstorms out across the eastern half of the United States. However, this will lead to a little bit more widespread rain showers and long-lasting rain showers along that frontal boundary as it pushes into more moisture, as we have ample moisture to really support more widespread rain showers along that frontal boundary, and of course the possibility of severe thunderstorms later on this week. So that's something to keep in mind into the later part of this week. And then as that cold front pushes out into the Atlantic Ocean, this is as far as our model will let us go. However, as that cold front pushes out into the Atlantic Ocean, this should clear a good majority of the moisture out into the Gulf of Mexico or into the Atlantic Ocean, if not all of it, leading to a significant decrease in the threat for severe thunderstorms next week. So that's something to watch out for. However, we could see that low pressure system linger out across the New England region, which is going to lead to a little bit more widespread and lingering rain showers out across the New England region. So that's definitely something you want to be watching out for later on this week. Let's take a look at our 500 millibars. There's not really a lot I want to really focus on for our 500 millibars. I kind of just want to take a look at our trough progression and advection across the rest of the United States as it progresses eastward. So for today, as of right now, you can see our low pressure system situated out across southern Canada. It's a very small region here with a very broad area for mid-level flow. And our mid-level flow is very strong as well. We are expected to see mid-level flow that's going to be getting as high as 100 miles per hour. So across the Rockies, that should be helping it speed up a little bit out across the Rocky Mountains, making it look a little stronger than it really is out across the Rocky Mountains. So our trough is fairly strong, and it is advecting into the northern central plains and then dipping south across the Midwest and then into the Gulf of Mexico and out into the Atlantic Ocean. And let's take a look at the progression of this trough. You can see that low pressure system is expected to continue. The central low pressure system is going to continue out across the central plains and into the Midwest, and with a shortwave trough that is expected to circle around that belt of flow. It's kind of hard to see, but we are expected to see a shortwave trough that is going to be causing our trough going to dip down as far south as the northern half of Texas here, while the northern part of our trough is going to be is somewhere out across Minnesota and Iowa. So we are expected to have a very broad area for mid-level flow. And then as this low pressure system, the two low pressure systems continue to progress to the east, our central low pressure system is going to be as far north as southern Michigan, and then our southern low pressure system is going to be somewhere out across the southern United States or into the northern Gulf of Mexico. And you can just see like how big our area of mid-level flow is. The southern portion of the most northern region, right below our northern low pressure system, our central and main low pressure system is going to be across southern Michigan, and then our the rest of our trough is going to be getting advecting as far south as the Gulf of Mexico, encompassing the entirety of Florida. So we are expected to have a very broad area for mid-level flow. So even though that doesn't necessarily mean anything, it could potentially get pretty windy, and we could potentially see a little bit more wind chill out across this region behind that cold front, as it is potentially going to get pretty windy because of the sheer size of the trough. And then the low pressure system, the low pressure system in the south, that little shortwave trough that's embedded in the flow. Our low pressure system, our central low pressure system, is going to kind of just shoot off to the northwest somewhere, or northeast, sorry. And then our low pressure system, our shortwave low pressure system, that is further down south, is going to take hold and kind of be the primary low pressure system, and continue pushing it out into the Atlantic Ocean, helping it advect eastward. Out into the Atlantic Ocean. That doesn't necessarily mean anything really. However, we could definitely see some rain showers, and the potential for maybe a few severe thunderstorms in the southern portions of the United States, the Atlantic southeast. So overall, this isn't really something that I really was looking for, or I wasn't really looking for anything for our 500 millibars. I just kind of wanted to take a look at the progression of our of our trough as it progresses eastward over the next couple of days. Now that I've told you the weather, I really want to know what you guys thought about this forecast in the comments. This was a little bit different from our usual daily forecast because there wasn't really a lot going on, but I wanted to take a look at what was going to be going on later on in the week. If you liked this type of forecast, or if you didn't, please let me know what was either good or bad about it, and I can improve off of there. I wasn't really sure about this type of forecast for today, and it definitely wasn't perfect, I would say, and I definitely did stutter a lot. I wasn't really prepared for this type of forecast. This was kind of more so on a whim, and I think I got everything covered, but if I'm missing anything, please let me know in the comments, and I'll potentially make a follow-up video later on tomorrow, whenever. We shouldn't really see a lot going on tomorrow either, so let me know what you guys thought about in the comments, and hopefully I should be able to see you guys tomorrow with another forecast.